Hello everybody and welcome back to Stellaris, where last episode, the war with the Ukavango Devourers ended, and also, right at the tail end, as I was starting to do the credits, you may have already clicked off of the video, but we detected this Nexus storm. Now, I'm not tremendously worried about this Nexus storm. So it is located down here, which is fairly close to our territory and will likely be drawn this way by our attractors. But if we hover over this, we can see that the duration is only 12 years as opposed to the, 80 that the last one was. So 12 years is very manageable. I'm not concerned about a 12-year Nexus storm. So that'll be absolutely fine. That should be okay. It might be a little longer than 12 years. We know that it's a little awkward, but it should be okay. So let's check through to see if we have any planetary construction work that needs to happen here. The answer is currently no. Okay, so we've got the White Crush working on its upgrading, and we know that that's going to be eating up our minor artifacts for a while. I'm wondering right now about the price of alloys. Ooh, that's good. We'll buy in 5,000. Okay. So we're going to continue checking in on that. We've got a lot of energy credits right now, and that's definitely something we're going to be interested in doing. Now, we were working on, I believe, the Demi Vito station might be maxed. Yes, we're working on the Ariga station. So let's continue to pump out some defense platforms here. There we go. And we have this newly established colony here. Okay, this is an awkward colony, to be sure. It's got this Storm Repulsion Center. I'm going to replace that with a Gene Clinic. It's also got this Hypercoms Forum. It might be okay to have this be like an ecclesiastical world of some sort. That'll be relatively fine, I think. So that seems okay. Now, the main issue that I'm seeing right now is that we're net negative in consumer goods. We're not significantly negative in consumer goods, so we need to keep that in mind. But we are negative, so eventually we're going to need to do something about it. But we have a very long time before we run out of consumer goods. So I'm not too concerned about it, but we are going to want to have some planetary growth, ideally. So we'll see what ends up happening with all of that. Now, our construction ships are all busy constructionating, as they normally do. And that's a good thing. We do see that we are at 72 influence, and we probably are going to need to spend more on ruined orbital rings, aren't we? Yes, we definitely are. I'm going to do another one of these, and that's going to keep our influence fairly low. We should also check through our current orbital rings, because some of these may require upgrades. This is an example of one that would require an upgrade if we had the influence. We don't currently. So what type of world is this? This is primarily alloy production. We can help boost our civilian fabricators here, though. So this would not be a bad thing to upgrade. It would not be a bad thing to upgrade at all. Okay, so not next month, but the month after would be when we would be able to do that in terms of influence. So I think we will prioritize that. Now, we've got the orbital rings here. Now, habitation modules are definitely something that we can start putting in. I'm thinking about our naval cap right now and thinking we're still interested in boosting our naval cap a little bit. So I'm going to put in a couple of orbital anchorages here, but we also have access to star bases that we could boost that with. So there's that. There's also things like this, which is currently a solar panel network, which is definitely not ideal. We can consider replacing this, but we could replace all of these eventually with anchorages. So we can get started working on that. And once those are complete, I'd be interested in replacing, say, this communications jammer with a naval logistics office. This defense grid supercomputer does not need to exist exactly. So there's that. We could simply put in a transit hub. Although I don't usually think that transit hubs are particularly great. We could do things like a deep space black site. Again, I'm not that concerned about that. A listening post may not be the worst thing in the world. We've already got a hydroponics bay and a resource silo, so I think the rest of that is reasonably fine. So then we can start doing the same for some of these other stations out over here. So to that end, I'm actually going to cancel these orbital anchorages here. We'll come back to that. And for the moment, I want to get going with anchorages here. So we're going to do something like that, and then this communications jammer would be changed over, and we can do something like this. Now, the same thing we would do in Rogul. So we're interested in getting a fair amount of additional naval cap. And we're going to be losing some naval cap as we transition some of these over. Keep that in mind as well. So that is going to be a distinct concern going forward. That's one of the big reasons why I want to get all of these converted pretty much as soon as possible. So we're going to get these going, and that will be fine. We're also going to want to create 3 additional, and that's definitely something we'll want to get going on fairly soon as well. So Demon's Maw is going to remain a defensive station. Parvis, however, that's going to be switched over. So we're going to make this be an anchorage here. All 6 of these will get switched over to being anchorages. Naval Logistics Office, and we are lacking alloys at this point. That's fine. So let's continue this going for now. As soon as this month tick goes through, we're going to put in a listening post here. There we go. That'll be fine. Now, we can come up here and begin upgrading this. We've got the influence. So we'll get going on that. That'll be fine. So that all seems good for the moment, but I want to check down this direction. We've got Tistra as well, so this can become an anchorage as well. We're going to get all of these transitioned over. We're lacking in the alloys again. We could buy more alloys. Price is actually kind of okay, so let's do that. Looks good. We're going to do anchorages in each of these locations. There we go. And then this will be a Naval Logistics Office and a listening post. Cool. So that should be all of this area converted over in the way that we want it to be. So that'll boost up our naval cap somewhat, but again, we're going to be losing some naval cap. So that is absolutely understood. We're going to need to plan for that. We're going to get a gene clinic and a habitation district here. And let's check to see if we have any of these construction ships idle. That's not construction ships. These are construction ships. We have 2. So we've got this one out over here. Understood. We could definitely come down to Tistra over here and enter orbit. We don't have the influence to begin a construction there, but we've also got Ciatera here. Okay, so we're going to want to send out our colonization bugs. And this is going to need to be... Right. We need to determine if we want to build habitats here or not. I'm going to come up to Alasia here. With the question being, on Alasia Prime, or not Alasia Prime, on Over the Star, I think? There's definitely an orbital habitat here somewhere, right? That's our arc furnace. Where do we put the orbital habitat? Did we not put one in Alasia? We may not have. In that case, let's see here. It wasn't around Spica. I'm pretty sure it was in Alasia, wasn't it? Yeah, this is a station. Okay. We don't have an astro mining bay available here, though. This is not the place I was thinking of. So where is the place I was thinking of? That's an excellent question. Ciatera? No, that's the place that we're working on there. There was a location where we had an arc furnace and we had a astro mining bay. I thought it was in Alasia. Apparently I was wrong on that. Okay. We'll just go through this direction, I guess. So we can look through each of these and try to locate it. I mean, it'll take a little bit to do it that way, but it shouldn't be too bad. We're just looking for the one that has like 20-some alloy production as a station. So where would that be? We know that we had it. Not in any of these yet. Definitely around here somewhere. Because we need to determine this at this point. That's the real question, is how is this going to go? So we've got Nietz Prime, Arai Prime. It's not Nosti. It's got to be one of these, right? It's got to be. And it should be flagged as a mining station. This one, Diadem Prime. Okay. So that's fine. Let's take a look here. And yeah, we can see that this has got an arc furnace, and we built orbitals here in Diadem. So Diadem Prime, we're currently producing 34. And how many mining jobs do we actually have? 3. Okay. Let's bump this. Let's see, 41, 34. Let's prioritize working on this. 56 and 34. Okay. So that's understood. In that case, we should do a little bit of work here. Specifically, what we should do is we should bring in a construction ship. One like this, which was just going to be idle. So we bring this up to Diadem. And the main issue here is that each one of these is producing like 5, right? So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, plus some change, right? So that's the unfortunate thing here. That means that what we need to do is we need to go through and destroy all of these. That means that it is now confirmed that we do not want... We need to get rid of this one. Can we get rid of this one? Interesting. The answer is yes. That confirms that we do not want to have orbitals in arc furnace locations, which we had already largely determined, but this finalizes it. That guarantees that we do not want these orbitals. So then what we want to do is we want to get this done. We're going to have to rebuild the mining stations. So that is understood. That experiment failed, and that will change how we want to play out this next order, right? So we're going to build these mining stations, and you may say, why is this only 28? Well, for one thing, it's going to go up when I tick it. Now it's 84. And that's going to go up even higher when you realize that the arc furnace here is improving system-wide mining operations. So these numbers are going to go up once we get these mining stations built. So that's fine. That, though, means that Diadem Prime can no longer have the Astro mining bays here. Well, it can. It can have the one above here, I think. It can have these two. That's fine. But we're going to want to turn this into some sort of a production system later on. That's okay. But that's now completed, and that means that we want to come down to Ciatera here. And we do not want to build orbitals here. So that means that this construction ship should head down to Eniara. But we do not have the influence to get that to proceed. And that's absolutely understood. So I want to come down over this direction. We have all of our anchorages down here. Maybe we want to put a few like up over this way. That's probably a decent idea. Spread them out a little bit. So we can do 1. This would be 2. And then a 3rd here. That'll bring us up to 37 out of 37 star bases. Once those finish. So that should be fine. We'll get that all underway. This will dramatically boost our alloy production again, and that is going to be a good thing. Now, Diadem Prime, we have... Okay, so it looks like the Astro mining bays went away. So we need to demolish our mineral purification plant here, and this means, first off, we need a habitation district. We knew that. And then I'm going to make this be... The question is, do we want this to be a straight-up production station for consumer goods? I think the answer to that is... I'm kind of leaning this to be balanced. So an industrial station like this. Then what we can do is we can put in an industrial district. That should give us all of the housing that we need and 3 jobs, right? Oh, this gives 3 clerk jobs. Okay. So that gives us all of the jobs that we need, in theory. Now, we're still going to want to have an alloy foundry in here, and we're going to want to have a civilian industry in here. Eventually, we're going to want to have a Ministry of Production, but we're going to need a Habitat Central Complex for that. That will require a lot more people on this world. Okay, so Diadem should be under control at this point. Now that we've verified exactly how that works, we don't want to have that be the way that it was. So this generator world here is requiring a job, and we need something other than generation here, which is fine. We can start putting in things like alloy foundries here. So this is a generator world. We need a building slot. We have a planetary capital right now, so we would need a system capital complex. Yeah, that's understood. For now, we're just going to do something like that. That looks okay. So let's get some of this administration stuff out of the way for sure. Yeah, down here on Gieti Secundus, we need a job. This is set up as a research station. It's kind of a hybrid research and mining station. So that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. We can definitely put in a mineral purification plant and max out the Astro mining bays for now. And then we can max out the zero-G research districts and fill this up with... these are housing neutral. Okay. It's gonna be a little awkward. I think it's fine, though. Housing might be a bit of an issue here, but we'll come back to that. This last position here can be a housing district, and that is 6 housing. Okay. Noted. That might be a little awkward. We'll come back to that, though. It's a long, long time until that gets to the point where it's going to be a problem. So that is absolutely fine. This construction ship is idle in Aniara. Nothing we can do about that right now. We just have to wait for this influence to be fixed. So that is absolutely a-okay. Cool. So we've got these 2 orbital rings, both of which we could certainly get the modules built on. So this world is being colonized, but it isn't colonized right now. Okay, that seems fine. Is that the case with both of these? Yes. So we really don't need to do anything to those at the moment. That's fine. We can bank up our influence and try to get this construction ship working again. So that'll be fine. And of course, we're going to be working here in Diadem for a little bit. We are arriving here now. That is quite the path that it's having us follow. Okay, whatever. That is not the most efficient path. I can tell you that right now. Okay. Well then. Where are we currently? Ah, we're building over the star. Okay, so that seems fine. That'll be going for a little while. Absolutely understood. Now, the Eyeball Station is going to be upgrading fairly soon. This is upgrading to a Citadel. Do we want this? Yeah, we do want that to upgrade to a Citadel. Okay, so that seems absolutely fine. Of course, there's the Demon's Maw Station out over here. And one thing we could consider doing is doing this to all of our stations. Most of our stations are running gun batteries because of the overall setup of technology that we had previously. However, it's, in my opinion, generally better. Like, in terms of raw stats, the hangar bay is the best here, but it's generally better, in my opinion, to run a balanced mix of weapons, just because you don't necessarily know what you're going to be coming up against, right? So that is absolutely fine. Now, the Eyeball Station needs a building, and the building we're going to put in is, of course, a Defense Grid supercomputer. So let's get that going for now. And all of these stations are in the process of upgrading. So I want to start switching some of these. Right. Ancient Ramparts. We want to be running Ancient Ramparts in most of these. That's correct. I forgot about Ancient Ramparts, actually. Okay. Just checking through and seeing how many of those defensive stations have the Ancient Ramparts. That's understood. We're going to want to change Demon's Maw and as well Eye of Ball over to that. Of course, we're going to be short on minor artifacts for that. The minor artifacts are being slurped up very thoroughly by our one remaining ship upgrade. So that's understood for the moment. We'll come back to that. So checking in on the progress of that upgrade, how is that going? The White Crush is, of course, fully kitted out in terms of their number of ships. But they do have more upgrades that they need to do. So looking at this, it would appear that we're pretty close to done. Yeah, it definitely appears that we're pretty close to done. All we need to do now is provision for these 2 cruisers, this battleship, and the Titan. So that'll be done pretty soon, and we can get those flipped over. That sounds great. Okay, let's check through our planetary constructions here. There's always the possibility that there's more of this that needs to be done, right? At any time, we can see population
Construction
growth.
complete.
Okay, so we just finished up these star bases down over here. So these we're going to want to put in a pair of anchorages and a naval logistics office. There we go, anchorages and a naval logistics office, and anchorages and a naval logistics office. I also want to get these upgrading right away. Cool. There we go, so that'll be fine. We might get to the point of being able to have a 7th Titan, and the question is, do we want to go to a 7th fleet if that happens? I don't know if we do, is the thing. Because we're going to want to downgrade our overall naval capacity in order to upgrade our worlds via switching to habitation districts on these orbital rings, right? So if we swap these out, this is going to drop us 6 naval cap each. So overall, this is going to be 24 naval cap lost per orbital ring. May not be a lot, but that's a lot of orbital rings, and that adds up to a tremendous amount. You can see here, from our orbital anchorages, we're getting 604. So that's very significant. Very, very, very significant. And that's understood. It's going to cost a bunch to get the habitation modules in terms of influence as well. That's a bit less of a concern, but we can come down to Aniara here, and very, very soon, we're going to be able... Wow, look at all of these moons. Okay. Very, very soon, we're going to be able to get this Habitat Central Complex building here. Now, this is only 29 away, so it's going to be like 3 months, but that's understood. You can see that we're net negative on Unity at this moment as well. So that is also absolutely understood. We want to upgrade our ecclesiastical production, and we also want to upgrade our alloy and consumer good production. Now, this is a mining world. It is maxed on its mining world capacity, but this seems relatively fine.
Founding a new home.
Now, the main issue that I have with this world right now is that it may develop into a housing issue. That said, we can upgrade the capital, so I don't think that's a problem. Let's put in a pair of industrial districts there. So that should be relatively okay. We've got Suitor Prime down here. This is a fortress world. It needs housing, so we can put in 1, 2, 3 city districts, which will open up all of our remaining building slots there. So that looks okay. We're going to use this to generate some naval capacity as well. This is very, very powerful for generating naval capacity, but we have very little population on this world, and that's the core issue there right now. Okay, so next up would be this research station. Now, this is also kind of a mining station. I'm going to get a mineral purification plant going there, and we can build 9. Yeah, this should be okay. So let's max out the astro mining bays here. That'll be fine. And what else do we have going on down through here? Well, not a whole lot at this point, but checking in on the White Crush, you can see we are fully allocated now as far as our minor artifacts go. So minor artifacts are now going to be banking up, although it just started, apparently. Let's see what happens on this month tick. Is there more here that we don't know about? I don't think so. 41 and holding at 41. Okay, so that should be fine. We can't spend our astral threads just yet, and we can't do any relics here just yet. Cool. So that looks absolutely okay for the moment. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are hopefully going to remember to switch these over to Ancient Ramparts. That would be a very good thing to do. It'll take some time to get that ready to go. That'll be like 280 per station, which isn't too bad, but it will definitely take a little bit. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Hiro Marutsu, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.